Hey people, Rio Wolfhard here. Today I want to talk about the Amp1 by Bluguitar, specifically the Iridium edition. So the Amp1 Iridium edition by Bluguitar is a 100 watt analog tube powered amplifier, but it's really small and it's very light also. Basically you get 4 different amps when you buy the Amp1. You have the choice between a modern sound, a classic sound, vintage, and the clean sound. Okay, by pushing this button right here, you get a really sparkly, clean sound, which is based off a Fender amp. Really nice, especially with the built-in reverb, which you can engage right here. And as you can hear, the amp reacts really nicely to your dynamic playing, which you can expect from a tube amp. It also has a built-in boost. This is based off a tube screamer pedal. I'm going to switch back to my overdrive channel, which I got set to the classic. You also have the choice between vintage, which as its name suggests, sounds a little bit more vintage. The mids and the treble profile is a little bit different than on classic setting. I think the classic setting is a little bit fatter sounding than the vintage one, and I enjoy that. And the modern setting right here is even fatter sounding. So let me first show you. This is the vintage setting. Now you got the classic setting. Difference is subtle, but modern channel. Now you can hear a bigger difference between the modern channel and the other two overdrive modes. I like the classic channel right now best, and yeah, the rest is built like a normal amp. You set your gain, you set your master volume, you got an EQ section, which is a little bit different than on most of your amps. This is more like a studio EQ. So you can actually boost all the frequencies, like bass frequency, mid frequencies, and you can basically, with these EQ settings plus the little custom settings which are on the side of the Amp1, you can make this amp sound like any amp you want. Now, it's not like a camper or a modeling, digital modeling amp. So you're still a little bit more limited, but it's mind-blowing on how far you can tweak this thing just with those few controls you have here. Then you have an overall master volume, which just controls the volume of your output. Has a great effects loop. You might want to push the button that's underneath this pedal amp, because it's got 2 settings. One is for rack. One is for rack effects, as I understand, and one is for normal pedals. And I actually had to push that button to make my carbon copy sound good. But now it sounds really fantastic. Yeah, with the help of the custom potties you have at the side, I shaped my classic mode, my classic amp setting, to sound something like a Friedman or a Bogner, so something like a really hot-rodded Marshall, because that's just the sound that I enjoy the most. Okay, now let me tell you why I got into this amp and how I tend on using it. The first reason why this amp is so great is it's a 100 watt fully analog tube amp, which means you can hook on your speaker cabinet and have enormous loudness and volume in your stage or at your house if you need that. But it is small. It weighs like nothing, and as I said, it's only as big as maybe 2 pedals. So yeah, as you can see, it's a really small amp, but it truly is loud. It's just about as loud as my Marshall that I have back here. The second reason why I like this, in some ways it sounds better than my Marshall that I have back here. It certainly sounds cleaner. You can dial it in, as I said, to make it sound like any amp you can want. If I go to the modern setting, it's more like a Mesa Boogie or something like that. You can make it sound like a PV 5150. You can make it sound like a JCM 800. If you go to the vintage setting, I find it goes into the direction of a Silver Jubilee, for example. I do find that the big amps back here have their own sound and their own thing going on, but overall, this is a great amp, and yeah, you're not gonna go wrong when playing this thing live or in studio. Next reason why I think that this thing rocks is the master volume. On a lot of tube amps, you just have to crank the shit out of them and crank them to 6 or 7 to make them sound good, just like on my Marshall back here. It's a different story right here. This thing sounds good even at really low volumes, and yeah, it gives you a lot of flexibility on stage or when you just want to rock at home with your speaker cabinet, which always is a lot more fun than playing over studio monitors, in my opinion. And last reason why I'm gonna go for this, for at least for my live sound, I'm gonna build a pedal board out of this thing where I'm gonna have only a few pedals that I really need, like my wah, a really cool, my favorite boost pedal. I'm gonna use the effects loop, and it's really cool to put it all on one board that has a really small size and is light. So when there's a gig that I can spontaneously attend, like a festival or even some lessons, I can just grab my pedal board amp and be really flexible. If there's a speaker cabinet, a guitar speaker cabinet standing around somewhere, I can just use that and use that for my monitor sound. I have my effects loop, which is always hooked up. Everything is just hooked up. I just grab my little pedal board and I'm ready to go. So, and this thing is so light that you could even put that into your backpack. So if you have a lot of fly gigs, this might be a really, really good option for you. You're always gonna have the same sound, playing from place to place, and playing on different stages. If you're working with the same sound guy, he's gonna be really happy that you're gonna have one fixed sound and not a whole lot of change going on from show to show. I mean, if you wanted, you wouldn't even need pedals alongside with this. You could literally just grab this thing and your guitar and a bunch of cables and you're good to go. Because it has a reverb, it has a boost, and it has a clean channel, which and you can also program this whole thing to your own specific needs, which I'm not going to do because this is just fine for me. This is going to work out just great. So yeah, people, I hope you liked this video. If you want to check out the tones of this thing, I suggest you just Google some other YouTubers, because I'm not going to do that. I think there's plenty of material like that already online. Oh yeah, and by the way, I didn't process the signal in any way. This is really just the Iridium going into my aux box. It doesn't have any EQ, any compression or anything on it. I literally just recorded from the Iridium to Logic, and that's it. Oh yeah, and Bluguitar, thanks for putting me in your artist membership zone. I really appreciate it. I'm grateful and honored of being part of the Bluguitar team. People, thanks for watching this video. Put a comment in the box, leave a like and a subscription, and see you next time.